Hello and welcome to another edition of the Forza Napoli podcast. I am your host, Joe Fischetti. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Unfortunately, it's been a rough 7 or 8 days for Napoli and Napoli supporters. 3 consecutive draws. I was hoping to come on and talk more about the Inter match, frankly, than the Parma match. I kind of took that for granted, and that didn't go too well. And we're going to get into all of that. But first, let me introduce my guest, who is, I think, the absolute perfect person to join me for this type of podcast, and that is the one and only Raffa Rispo, the host of the Napoli Rant. So what better person to have on to talk about all the craziness of the last 7 days?
Who knows where we're gonna go with this, Joe? Like I haven't been on YouTube in so long, and the Biz and I are taking a little bit of a hiatus from, personal life, work, family, a whole bunch of stuff going on. And this is when you messaged me and said, "Hey, I think we need you for this one." I was like, "Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do." Because I should have recorded I tell my fiance all the time, we just should start recording ourselves at all times just
Conversations,
to
yeah.
just to put together like bits for whatever, right? And if we did, you would have had some great content for the
The YouTube
for the
channel.
Napoli the Napoli diaspora here.
Well, I
I
you
was
know, I
losing it.
say I say you're the perfect person because you host a show called the Napoli Rant,
Of
but you're
course.
also the perfect person because you are one of our most optimistic fans, despite the title of your show. And I think we all need a little bit of that balance right now. We're recording on Wednesday, so today is the day that Parma uh, held us to a 0-0 draw.
Was that today?
It feels like already it was a while ago. I know,
I
or maybe it
know.
was like a bad dream or something. But it's been I just want to quickly recap the last 7 days because it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster for us. We had the Verona match a week ago today. We fell behind 2-0. We went into that match thinking, okay, this should be a pretty comfortable victory despite all the injuries. We fall behind 2-0 at halftime. We end up having a great second half, some controversy there that we'll get to, but we walk away feeling pretty good about a 2-2 draw considering the circumstances. But we drop to 4 points behind Inter. That makes us nervous because guess who's up next? It's Inter, and we know that if we lose that match, we will be 7 points behind the league leaders, which is a tremendous gap to make up. In addition to that, we lost David Neres at the end of that Verona match. So, excuse me, we knew we would be playing without Neres for the Inter match. And we pull off a really good performance, fall behind twice, come back twice. McTominay is the hero like he was last season, and we salvage a draw and keep the deficit at 4 points. That gives us momentum heading into the Parma match, a game that we think we should win this, even if we're without Neres, even if we're without a suspended Juan Jesus, even if we're without a Antonio Conte on the bench. And we end up drawing 0-0, and now we're back to 6 points behind Inter. And a lot of Napoli fans have already thrown in the towel, and we'll get to why. Like I said, I really wanted to to have a conversation about all these great things, and we still will talk about things like McTominay. But I think we can't but start with some of these controversial decisions that have not gone our way. And in two of those three draws, you can argue there was at least one in every match. I would say no, one in each of the last three matches. I would say two for sure were kind of big ones.
Yeah.
Um, and let's start with the one from today because that's fresh on our minds, and that was the offside called on Pasquale Mazzocchi. Rafa, this is the graphic we all saw live, and when we saw it live, we were all kind of scratching our head, saying, "Wait a minute, is that really offside?" It actually looked even worse when they were kind of just showing the replays before they gave
Yeah.
us the actual semi-automated offside technology. Because
Right.
I didn't even it was hard, like your eyes are not on the player that played him on, it's on the guy that was defending him, and it looked like he was well offside. Then we get this and we realize, wait a minute, I'm not sure. I didn't put a close-up image here, but if anyone check out Vincenzo's profile picture on X, Vin B Napoli on X, because he made his profile picture a like close up shot of Mazzocchi's shoulder with
Yeah.
the kind of offside line, and I gotta say, like, biases aside, this does not look offside to me.
Absolutely not. And let's clarify the offside rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it supposed to be that a playable part of the body has to be offside? Are we literally talking about the like the bone shaving of his shoulder? Like, can we zoom this in a little bit to see? Like, is that I don't
Yeah.
know where the offside is, like what's the exact rule on that, Joe? Is it because I feel like if that's the case, this should never be called offside.
No, so the rule is only a call it legal part of the body, a part of the body that you can touch the ball with that's not considered a handball in the case of the arm, which is the shoulder, that has to be offside. So if let's say he was a couple of inches back and it was like his elbow that was beyond
Sure. Right.
the line, that would not be offside because your elbow is not a playable part of the body. It's you can score a goal with your shoulder, or you can control the ball or whatever with your shoulder. The thing for me is that like how do you look at this image and
And say
say
offside. Exactly. Like,
definitively without a shadow of a doubt this is clearly an offside? Like in my mind, and I don't know if clear and obvious error applies to the semi-automated offside technology, but in my mind it would have to be indisputable to take a goal away, and there's no way you can look at this and say without a shadow of a doubt that he is, clearly in an offside position.
so how come and I forgive me because I forgot who the referee was for today, but why did we not get a VAR look? I mean, is it because, or not a VAR look, but like a trip to the monitor for this official? Is it because they determined this in the VAR room? Or is it because you know uh, they came to the conclusion that it was a clear and obvious offside calling? Like, to me it makes no sense that this didn't go at least to the official on the pitch. And honestly, in my opinion, if it's too close to call on the screen, then you should the call that was on the pitch should stand, which should be a goal. And that's not me being Napoli biased, Joe.
No,
It's me. It's
exactly.
me. If the goal was opposite, if this was an opposite scenario, I would have said the same thing about the Parma player.
Yeah, I think they just rely on the technology. What I don't know is who makes the call when it's so close that um it's it's impossible to decipher with the eye. It's clearly not the on-field official. I don't know, maybe it's the VAR that makes that final decision. Michael Fabry, by the way, was the
Michael
official
Fabri,
for
yes, yes. So,
but
but what? Here's another thing. Was this judged by the definitive offside technology? Because we have that, right? If it's an offside, this technology will show it's offside. There's no disputing it. To me, this is a dispute, and and it went to the VAR room in which you had three guys or more in a VAR room looking at this, going, "Yeah, we don't need to go to the referee on the pitch. This is offside."
Mhm, yeah.
Is that what's happening? Because
Yeah, because the thing is, what's unique about this compared to these types of reviews in other sports, like take tennis for example, right? Tennis has a similar technology,
sure,
but it's very black and white, right? Like you have the line and you have kind of the skid mark, if you will, of the ball, and you can very clearly distinguish if there's a gap between those two things. What I just don't know is like how do they do that with a player's body? Are there, multiple points? Does the system allocate points on each individual player? I don't even know if the technology is that sophisticated, or is this just still a human kind of pinpointing the, or essentially making a decision as to whether his shoulder is across that line or not? It seems just to me you get to such a minute difference that human error is too big in at that scale that in my mind, you'd get a lot, and I think they are getting a lot more flack for taking this goal away than they would have if it was allowed, even if they still showed an image like this. And it's not just our bias, because
No.
I saw fans of every club
Oh
saying,
yeah.
"What is going on here?"
No.
Even Udinese's player Cabezele posted on social media. Apparently, made a comment under like the Zone's post of this graphic. So this is like a actual competitor in the league that is saying, "How is that? You know, how can you call penalties for when the ball hits that part of the body, but then you can also call an offside when that part of the body is over the line?" And in this case, it doesn't even look like it's over the line.
We can talk about that when we talk about the goal that was disallowed against Hellas Verona.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case here, Joe, are you a baseball guy? You know the phrase "tie goes to the runner."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, baseball guys out there, non-baseball guys out there, it's when the ball's thrown to first base and the batter is trying to get to first, and they hit the bag with their foot at the same time the first baseman catches the ball while having the bag on his foot on the bag. To me, this is tie goes to the call on the pitch, or the you know
The scorer.
the scorer, or the
Yeah,
offensive player,
yeah, yeah.
because you can't tell me that an entire shoulder is offside by looking at this. To me, it looks like more of the body that touches the ball with its, the more of the arm and hand that touches the ball would be called a penalty kick, right? So it looks like, if you really look at it, it looks like it's like right on the shoulder. So if it's right on the shoulder, I got it. It's mine. That's how I feel. Because you can't tell whether it's half the shoulder, three-fourths of the shoulder, one-third of the shoulder. Like, to me, it looks like the full shoulder's on side, but like, it doesn't make sense to me that this didn't go to the pitch, like the monitors on the pitch. I think the referee Fabri should have had a chance to look at this and then make his decision. Because at
Mhm.
the end of the day, the final decision goes with the referee on the field. Let him make this decision. This is ludicrous that this didn't go to the pitch monitor.
Let me see
Ludicrous.
if I can pull up the close up that Vin posted, because that'll
Yeah.
oh no,
If you
not
can
this one.
find, I don't see anything. I don't see
Yeah,
anything there. But
yeah. Hang on one
it's
second.
it's got it's got to exist, because
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, did they get this one wrong? Are they going by the rule book? Is it on the rule book that if the shoulders on the but that's it, I don't know if the shoulder should be part of, I don't know. I'm flabbergasted, Joe. For the first time in a long time, I have no words for this call. None. Like, I have no words. I don't even know how to express myself. I was upset, very, very upset that this goal was taken away, because Mazzocchi worked really hard for it, and it was a beautiful cross. It was a nice play in. It was the scrum. I thought maybe there was a foul in the scrum in the box while McTominay was trying to score,
Mhm.
but for them to call an offside and then to see what it was on the graphic later was just unbelievably insane. But I don't know if you found the picture or not.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. I have it up on
I
my
don't
screen, but
see it, so I
good.
don't know if that means the rest of the world can see it. But
Hopefully, we'll find out
if
soon
you
enough.
can,
But
cool. If not, I'm sure Joe will
yeah,
post it.
yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
can retweet or
The
post
other
it.
thing that I thought was a little bit curious, and it always makes me kind of, this is when I start to think, get kind of conspiracy theorist a little bit, but
Sure.
the goal was scored at like 10 minutes and 10 seconds. And we didn't see the semi-automated technology images until the 17:35 mark. So nearly 7.5 minutes. Now I get it, like they have to work on it and then they have to wait for enough of a break to show it. But
They should
if
have
it
showed it
took
in real time. They should have showed us what they're looking at.
yeah, if this is really just a system that's generating this graphic, in theory, that should be pretty instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see that we have to wait 7.5 minutes to see it, I start to think, wait a minute, something's up here. And that's why I say this kind of conspiracy theorist a little bit. Um,
Yeah. I wish I could say, hey, that's crazy talk, but it's not. It's not.
yeah. And then the last thing I'll say about this, and we can move on to some of the other things we saw in this match and the other controversies of late, is that these types of decisions are kind of inconsistent with just the rules are not even consistent with each other anymore because like none of us really like all these crazy handballs and penalty kicks. We'll get to the Inter penalty kick, but like, there's so many handballs these days where these poor defenders can't do anything. There was one that Baschirotto got upset and I think suspended for or sent off for in the Cremonese match at the weekend where he slides in, he blocks a shot, the ball deflects off his foot because he blocks his shot and it hits his hand that's in the air because when you're sliding, you're kind of like, and a penalty kick is given. And part of the logic as I understand it, for these rule changes is because they want more goals and they think more goals is going to be a more attractive product. So then, but yet we're taking a goal away here, which would have made this game totally different. An early goal means the match opens up, and because now Parma at some point will need to try to equalize, and that creates more space, and that means we're more likely to score. They're going to attack more. That's how you end up with 3-1, 3-2 score lines. Instead, Parma just went right back into this low block, and as the match went on, it got lower and more compact, and they start to build up this confidence that they could actually pull this off, and we end up with a 0-0 draw, which is, I think, not what the league actually wants.
Right.
Now, I'm not suggesting that they should make bad decisions to increase, the goal total, although I think a lot of bad decisions are made or the rules are interpreted in a crazy way for that reason. But again, it just feels like it's inconsistent. Even the different rules are now starting to be inconsistent. And I posted this online that up until this season, I liked VAR. I thought, okay, it has its own nuances, but overall, it's making the game better. It's a net positive. But with all of the issues we've seen this season, and it's probably just down to Rocky, who's in charge of all of this. Um, I for the first time, I feel like VAR is not actually improving the game anymore. I think it's actually making it worse now.
But is it VAR that's not doing its job, or is it the VAR officials and rule setters that's
No, you're
not
right. You're right.
taking it?
It's the
Because VAR, the
technology itself.
system,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
the technology itself is amazing. Like
Yeah.
just to be able to pinpoint, where the line is, I mean, in the graphic that we all look at thinking it's a Mazzocchi, the Mazzocchi graphic, right? This one, to be able to pinpoint that, and these are moving, like you said before, tennis is a fixated line, the goal line technology is a fixated line.
Mm-hmm.
This is a moving part, this is the offside line is never just one line. It's a moving line, ever moving. So to have the technology to be able to track who the last defender's heel is and where Mazzocchi's shoulder is pretty incredible. I think it's the idiots in the VAR room and the ones setting the rules. It's either the ones that are setting the rules that are outrageous or the ones that are setting the rules but not teaching the officials the right way to interpret the rule.
Correct. Yeah, and that's where I kind of blame Rocky because that's his kind of
It's Rocky's domain, right?
Yeah.
So now, because and let's face it, we've seen so many goals given that shouldn't have been, or not given that should have been in the past before VAR.
Mm-hmm.
If this was, when did VAR begin? 2016, 2015? This was 2014, and we're taking a look at this graphic. No one is taking this goal away.
Right.
This goal stands because, hey, his foot aligns with his body. He's onside. No one's looking at, the half edge of someone's shoulder. So it's in this case, it's a retraction, It's a takeaway from the game. Like, mm-hmm. I don't want to complain about VAR because VAR was necessary. See the 2002 World Cup, mm-hmm. See a lot of other decisions,
yeah.
But at the same time, when you're getting too technical with these rules, it takes the fun away from the game, man. Like
Yeah.
this, like you said, this could have sparked the whole goal fest, you know.
Hmm.
But now teams get frustrated. They celebrate a goal that's not there. That's another thing. That's a, you're taking away from fans too that are there. Like I understand if they were miles ahead, or if it was a correct decision. But this is, I can't say inexcusable because we don't set the rules and we don't know what goes on in the VAR rooms. But like, if I'm there, no matter what side this is on, I'm not calling this goal off. This is a goal.
Yeah. Funny enough, I think they still would have got it wrong back then because what would have probably happened pre-VAR is they would have called him offside, not realizing that this player was playing him on, and then we would have
There
been
it
all
is. There it
posting the
is.
pictures saying, "Oh my god, look at the mistake." That's how this is
And
how
they would have raised the flag before this play even
right,
even finished. So like,
right,
so
yeah,
there you go. There's always two sides to look at
yeah,
things, right? We
yeah,
we we look at it through the Napoli glasses, and we do a good job of being pretty unbiased. But like, Napoli fans could feel hard done by, and then other fans could say, "Oh well, you cry too much." You know what I mean? Like they'll find a way to justify this. I don't
yeah.
know.
At the end of the day, I guess you kind of hope that it kind of evens out. Like everyone's gonna have you ask any fan base and they'll tell you 10 examples of when their team got screwed by an officiating decision, right? And I guess you hope it just evens out in the end and it's a bit of a wash. There was one other play in the second half that I couldn't tell myself, frankly, if it was should have been a penalty awarded to us where Politano played in a cross, McTominay got a touch on the ball and it Circatti blocked it and McTominay was immediately appealing for a penalty kick. They did look at that and they didn't award it. I don't know. I don't know if you have
Right.
any strong feelings
Right.
about
I
that or
think
not.
a corner ensued from it, right?
Yeah, yeah. They ended up just giving us the corner instead.
I mean, it might have it how about this? It might have been soft, but I think it could also have served as a, here you go. I sorry I got this wrong in the first half. If
Yeah.
they're looking at, because this, obviously this is early in the game, you got to know the referees are looking at these things at halftime saying, "Hey, did we
Hmm.
get this right?" You
Yeah.
know?
True. It could have been a bit of a makeup,
So how come we
semi
couldn't
makeup
get the
call. Yeah.
make the makeup? I
Yeah.
mean, teams get it all the time. We know it's a thing. It is a thing. Referees have admitted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give us the makeup. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
hey,
We
it could go either
we
way, but we're gonna give it to you this way.
yeah. We didn't get the bounces in this one. I mean, they have this kid Filippo Rinaldi in goal, and he makes
Mm,
like incredible reaction save on Bongiorno. He made a good
yeah,
save on Højlund. So
yeah,
it kind of you could feel that this was heading towards a draw. It was like we were pouring
yeah,
it on, but just that
yeah.
goal didn't do it.
Honestly, like my feelings towards the end of the game, I'll never forget thinking two or three things like randomly, and I've jotted them down in my phone that I'm actually using for my camera now, so I can't look at them. But one thing was the Nettis substitution. I was confused to see it, but
Mhm.
also happy to see him, getting some minutes, and then instantly saying this was not a good idea. You know, uh, uh, Even though he nutmegged, I think it was
Yeah,
Ordonez first, and then
yeah,
he nutmegged someone else to start a play up. To kind of like open up play to McTominay, and like you could see that they were playing Vergara very very when Politano came out, they were playing Vergara on the wing
yeah,
and Nettis centrally, because Nettis at like 75% is still pretty technically good. So he can get, a few things going without having to use speed, but you could tell he wasn't ready, man.
yeah. You
You
could see
know,
it. That was a kind of desperate play that they probably didn't want to have to make. Um, but what I will say, and I had some notes on some of the positives, and one of the positives I think we all need to recognize from these last three matches, and Neres was like this idea in a nutshell was just the character of this team. Come from behind against Verona, come from behind twice against Inter, being willing to play on one foot to try to snatch a victory against the referee decisions in this one.
right.
For whatever you'll say about you know the results, there's going to be Napoli fans out there that feel like we should be doing better regardless. You can't deny the heart of this team, and all of this when they're playing match after match after match with all these guys missing and basically no bench. You cannot deny the character and the heart of this team.
Right. Right. You know, and I'm sure we'll go back to the Verona game too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll mention this here. I was very feeling very positive after that game. Even though we only got a draw from lowly Verona, where
Mm-hmm.
we lost points to Inter. I get it. But you know, Conte having the wherewithal to put in guys like Marianucci
Mm-hmm.
and who hasn't seen a lot of time at all this season, and when we need two goals, putting him in and him actually making a few mistakes in the beginning, but kind of growing into the match and being part of a team that surged back to get the point.
But he
You know,
assisted the Di Lorenzo goal
and
too.
he
That was
and
his
then at
ball.
the end, I was
Yeah,
just gonna say, and then next
yeah,
thing you know, he's assisting the match, the goal that gets the point, and you walk away from that feeling, I feel pretty good. The crowd is still singing in
mm-hmm.
our favor. They're going over to the curva and they're singing and clapping back at them. And Marianucci's walking off going, man, we worked really hard and we got that point. We should have won the game. We'll talk
Yeah,
about that again later. But then the Inter match being the Inter match, and then today, where you have a guy like Buongiorno who came in and was pretty solid,
yeah.
who's been shaky, and then Nettis coming in. You know what? Okay, we're not ready yet, but then Vergara coming in, and I honestly was a little impressed with him today. Not that he did anything like technically amazing or like gifted,
Mm-hmm.
but he showed a lot of heart and hustle
Yeah. Well, he
down
did. He
that
did
wing
create a chance
towards
for
the end.
Lobotka,
It
right? Where
created a
he,
chance for Lobotka,
yeah,
exactly. And I just feel like, okay, they realize, okay, Nettis isn't speedy right now. He's not doing okay. Let's shift him over to the middle, put Vergara all the way on the other side. And I think he beat his man a few times.
mm-hmm.
He did really
Mm-hmm.
well. And it's just like how I feel for the Parma keeper who gets his first ever start is away at the home of the champions and
Clean sheet.
a clean sheet and man of the match because he made some really great saves. We can feel the same way about Marianucci, who now has confidence and can go forward, right, in the league.
Mm-hmm.
We have all these guys that are coming back that will whether they're back from injury or what have you. And I think the fact that we got the result against Verona and then the Inter result were positives. And just today was just, we were spent. I think today
Mm-hmm.
we were just spent, done with it. We need a reset after today, and I think today just caught up to us.
Yeah.
In and let's be honest, we should have 3 points from today too. So you can go into that thing. And Conte is not even on the touchline. So like for them to go ahead and be able to, that's one thing I was worried about was them not being able to be as inspired and motivated,
Mm-hmm.
without Conte there. But honestly, I feel like Come si chiame, the assistant. His name blanked on me.
Stellini.
Stellini has done a really good job in Conte's, absence before. And I think he's the guy, plus it's a touchline ban. It's not a a locker room ban. He's
Mm-hmm.
probably in the locker room firing these guys up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I noticed another thing today, Parma wasting a little time or stalling before coming back onto the pitch because they did a switch at halftime and the guy coming in had an issue with the tape on his legs. So now he's
Mm-hmm.
cooling off Napoli as they're, just got their ear chewed off by Conte. So there are a lot of factors that go in the game, but I think they showed a lot of fight. The results aren't great, but it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. I can't mathematically and I can't psychologically rule these guys out for Scudetto. It's impossible. for me to do that right now.
Hmm.
Right now.
Yeah.
Now,
Just yeah.
Sassuolo is a must win, and that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, let's we'll come back a little bit. We'll touch again at the end on how we see the rest of the season going.
Sure.
But let's move on to the penalty kick from the Inter match, because this was one that had a lot of discussion around it. I think you and I and most people probably agree that in this case it was probably the correct decision toward the penalty kick. As unfortunate as it was, it is in the modern game. We do see this quite often.
We see it given, or do we see it not given? Like that's the question, because I'm looking at this, and the whole time I'm like, penalty, penalty, penalty. Like, it's a
Yeah,
penalty.
yeah.
Let's call it what it like. I'm looking at Rahmani stepping on was it who's that? Mkhitaryan's, is that
Vegetarian. Yeah,
Mkhitaryan?
yeah.
Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's clear as day it's a penalty. Now Rocco's telling me, no way, we got screwed by the ref, no pen. And I'm like, how? Like, can you help me see how this is not, like, how one could argue it's not? At one point, the screen came off, and I thought they were resetting. And I looked at Alex, I was with Ali, and I looked at Ali, and I said, they didn't give the penalty? Like, I was shocked that they didn't. Then when they went back and ran it back and called it, I was like, all right, yeah, definitely a penalty. It is. But Conte's reaction was just gold.
Yeah.
I loved it. I honestly, I was like, okay, we're gonna go down 2-1, but I love that. I love that reaction from Conte. It was give us a little something to like motivate us the rest of the way. But we'll talk more about that. But in this case, 100% a penalty. I don't understand why people would think it's not. Is it because Mkhitaryan played the ball? He
No,
went
I
for the ball.
think
I don't know.
the most I don't even know if I would say the most valid argument, but one thing we did see was we saw these images floating around, which was Politano getting stepped on the foot, playing against Roma, penalty was not
Last
given.
season, yeah.
Ostergaard stepping on a Milan player's foot. That was the same week. That was the game.
That was the same week, right?
Yeah. That was the week that we I believe the game the same day we drew against Verona, or that match day for sure.
Yes,
And
yes.
no penalty was given there.
No
So we saw a
penalty.
lot of these types of arguments. What I would say to that though is that we said it earlier, the officiating this season has been so all over the map, so inconsistent, that every fan of every team can give you an example where a decision was given to some other club, a rival, whatever, and then the same thing happened to their club and the decision wasn't given. I guarantee you Inter fans can probably probably
Oh,
do the same.
100%.
So I try not to lean on that. But one thing that I never liked, and again, this is me just being old and thinking about the good old days and not accepting kind of the modern interpretation of the rules, but right after Rachmani stepped on Mkhitaryan's foot, Turan plays a back heel. I can't remember who he played it to. And Inter got two quality chances. The first one, I think it was Di Marco first, and like four Napoli players lunge in front, and one of them blocks his shot. The rebound goes to Bastoni, and he misses the top corner by like a very narrow margin.
Narrow margin.
And it's kind of like, if you played the advantage, they got two quality scoring chances. It feels like such a harsh penalty, or such a harsh decision to award a penalty kick when not only did they get two chances, now you're going to give them basically a guaranteed goal for something that was like a fraction of a second away from not being a foul, because he's clearly like, I know intent doesn't change whether a foul happens or not, but there was no malintent here. Like I even missed the days of the two touch
Yeah.
free kick inside the area kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
there's
yeah.
some of these penalties, like the worst ones are the ones where you see like a player's actually dribbling outside of the box, or like at the top corner of the box, nowhere near the goal, nowhere near even a chance, but the foul happened to be inside the area and they get a penalty. And it just feels like this is something Carlo Garganeza talks about a lot on the Italian football podcast, that like the the punishment doesn't fit the crime, right?
Right.
A penalty seems like way too much of a reward for what the foul was, even if we agree that that's a step on foot is a foul.
Yeah, yeah, and you mentioned the two touch free kicks inside the box. I think that if that still existed, then maybe the Rahmani foul could be considered for that. And I 100% would agree with it. Based on what the rule is now, that was a penalty, and
Yeah.
it's just the way it is. It's you also mentioned the fact that they had two clear chances to score after the foul was committed when advantage was given,
Hmm.
right? First of all, was advantage given? Did the referee give advantage, or were VAR in the referee's
Well, I
ear?
guess you're right. That's a good point. Like he didn't even know a foul was committed.
Sure. But let's just say, for argument's sake, advantage was given, right?
Hmm.
The two clear chances happen, they don't score. Or they do score. I've seen goals scored and then VAR overturned the goal to give the penalty because it was a foul before it.
Right.
In my opinion, if a goal is scored, let it be a goal.
Yeah, it should
You
be
know, why
automatic.
are we
Yeah.
going back? He gained an opportunity from the foul. He scored a goal. That's it. Why are we taking a goal away for like a potential, a no goal, right? So honestly, I'm not as upset about the fact that this penalty was called. I realize these screens look, I mean, I'd be upset if I were Milan or fans, and like, I remember this play well. I was very upset that this wasn't given, but like, there's that's where VAR, isn't doing their job. In this case, Doveri
Hmm.
made sure VAR did their job. You know what I mean? And I think he officiated the game very well. I mean, I know a few people had issues maybe with this call, maybe with something else, but I honestly thought this was a very well officiated game, and it was spot on by the refereeing. So that's where, in an instance that they get it right, it goes against us. And this is the kind of luck we've had over the last 3 games, right? Luck hasn't gone our way this week.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree with that. I thought Dovetti had a fantastic game. You mentioned Conte, so I'll throw this up. I don't know if you see it yet on your side, but uh, Conte kicking the ball away and freaking out on the fourth official, which we'll
oh,
get to in a
trust me, I've
second.
seen
But
it. I don't see it on my side. So
yeah, yeah.
YouTube viewers, I hope you see it. But
Um,
I know exactly what you're talking about, and it was epic. I was, you know, why I loved it, Joe, is because the second half started and Napoli didn't exert a lot of energy. I felt Napoli were reserving a lot of energy, very composed, very, now and right up until this penalty kick, Napoli were playing much better than they were in the first half, much better than they were against, than Inter. And now we're going to go down 2-1 on a BS penalty that Conte feels
mhm,
is BS.
mhm.
You need something to like get you going, right? To keep you going. And Conte just standing there taking it wasn't going to get them going. So Conte getting as fiery as he did got these guys going, man.
Yeah.
And it showed after the penalty kick, right? This is why and I had texted, I think it was Marco Messina. We were texting back and forth during the game, and
Mhm.
I said, "This is clearly 100% Conte versus Kivu. You're seeing the wily smarts of Conte versus the inexperience of Kivu. Although I do think Kivu's doing a very fantastic job this season.
You can't
It,
deny it. It's the form they're in lately.
right, right. But man versus man, Conte's got the advantage when it comes to
Mhm.
the mind games, and that's how these guys stayed in that game. I think that was necessary for Conte to flip out the way he did. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when he got in that fourth official's face, I was like,
That
yeah,
poor
get him. No, oh my
the poor
god.
guy though, he's really just a
Oh,
mouthpiece. That he's just, but
Ali was like,
but
you think
that's
he
the guy
shit
who
his
the coaches.
pants yet? Dude.
But yeah, that's the guy the coaches have to go to. Just quickly to go back to Dovetti, the other argument that some people were making, which I do actually kind of agree with as well, is that the penalty decision wasn't consistent with the way he was calling the match, which was that he was letting a lot go. and that's what we want. Actually, that's what made it a good match, was that he let the game flow. He wasn't stopping it. Nothing drives me crazier than a
Oh,
game that
I
every
hate
5 seconds a foul. You can't just get into any kind of rhythm. Some clubs actually, smaller clubs typically do that intentionally to break up the rhythm for the opponent. So
right.
so it wasn't the penalty decision wasn't super consistent with the way the match was called. But again, it wasn't really Dovetti that made that call.
Mhm.
He was called to the monitor, and then at that point, it's really difficult to not award the penalty there.
But
Um,
at the same time, you could say that Dovetti was very consistent, and maybe going to the monitor, making a decision like that, and it having an effect in the game, okay, fine. But if you know if that foul came any like lighter, if possible, or like if maybe, well, obviously if he hit the ball first, it wouldn't have been a foul because he won the ball. But what I'm trying to say is Dovetti letting fouls go here and there for the pace of the game, for the intensity. We know what the game means. It's a very important game. You're letting the play, dictate the pace, be dictated by the players, instead of the referee blowing the whistle so easily, is one thing, and having to look at a possible penalty kick is another thing. Like that's just the job.
mhm,
I
mhm.
don't think Dovetti should have been like, you know what, I'm letting everything go today, so let's not look at VAR.
Yeah,
Forget
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He did his job the right way, in my opinion, and I'd say he's one referee that I don't really have issues with. I don't remember, because my memory is not as good as it was when I was younger, if
Yeah, you and
Dovetti
I
was
both.
involved in a Napoli like scandal call. You might remember that, like one that didn't go our way. But I think he's been doing really well, like as far as consistency in the league. He's the one guy I think that's been doing pretty
Yeah.
good.
Well, there is the infamous picture of him at the airport with like an Inter suitcase.
That's him. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I mean, they're athletes too, and they can improve or get worse or whatever. But I think he ended up having a great match. The bigger issue is that there's just not enough officials that are consistently
Yeah,
doing a good
it
enough
was Dovetti though, wasn't it? Oh, but
job. Yeah,
that puts this whole thing in a different perspective, right?
but no, objectively speaking, I don't think he did a bad job.
He did okay.
Um,
That was a
the
great game. Best game of the season right now so far, in my opinion. Well, best game for a neutral. Put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, I
In a
think
neutral's eyes, there was everything in that game. You know.
yeah. Here, I'll pull up the just for fun. There's your. I'm trying to use this YouTube stuff. There's the video with the Inter suitcase. It must have been COVID because he's wearing the
I think it
mask.
was COVID. Yeah, it was COVID, but I forgot it was him. I don't remember these things.
um,
I'm so bad at this.
let's move on to the last one, which I'll let you talk about this one. I want to get your thoughts because I did a little bit of a mini review pod on the Verona match.
Mm-hmm.
But the controversial decision there was the, call it, phantom handball by Rasmus Højlund. Or again, it's kind of like the Mazzocchi offside, where it's so inconclusive, yet the decision goes against the goal.
So here's the thing: there is one angle where I do see the ball hit his hand first, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's one angle where I see it. So if you see one angle that it happens in, then it happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because your perception of vision is different from different angles, right?
Of course.
So in one angle you see it hit his hand before it hits the chest. But there's two reasons why I think this should have stood, and the one reason is his hand being where it was coming back from an unnatural position.
Mm.
So he was bringing his hand back the right way, and the ball just happened to hit him on the way there. Thus, before before hitting his chest. Now, the ball hitting his hand, the other thing I was going to say, the ball hitting his hand didn't make a difference in where the ball went. It was a graze. It was a literal graze of the hand.
Yeah.
So I think defensively, like in the defensive end, if this was,
Mhm.
Napoli defending in the other side, I don't think that's given as a handball.
So this is something I touched on in my review, which is actually the rules literally say it wouldn't have been a defensive handball, but for some reason, this is a case where the rules are just dumb. Like I completely
Yes,
like we've gotten so far away from the intent of the rules. We've gotten so far away with of what's just practical and what just makes sense. Because I completely agree with you. If even if there was the faintest graze, if it was so faint that it didn't change the outcome in any way whatsoever, then why are we still calling handballs? It's like that, bro, we've
right.
gotten away from the intent. But what the rules actually say is that when you're defending, only when you're defending is it a handball for making yourself unnaturally bigger. When you're attacking, it doesn't matter where your hand is. If the ball touches your hand before you score, it is a handball regardless of it's in a natural position or not, which is
And
just the
that's
stupidest
and
thing.
that's what is killing me, because once I saw the ball hit his hand from the angle I saw it during the whole, VAR look,
Mhm.
I said they're not going to give this goal.
Yeah.
We are not getting this goal. And it's unfortunate because that's the rule. Maybe maybe VAR needs to, obviously they need to, re look at things that, they need to look at a lot of things. They need to
Mhm.
review a lot of things and change things. Maybe when VAR is presented with this issue, they decide, okay, was the ball redirected in a place where it gave Højlund a an advantage to score? No. Did the ball move its traction, or like move its trajectory as the ball was grazing his hand, causing the ball to be able to be chested, because the ball was going to be chested whether the hand was there or not,
Mhm.
and then him scoring should count from now on. That's, in my opinion, if I'm going to change the rule for that, like if it's a blatant handball, even if it, like, put the ball behind his foot and then he grabbed it from there and played it and scored. Yeah, fine. No goal.
Mhm.
But in this case, Højlund didn't gain any sort of advantage to scoring this goal. So, like, no, take it off.
And that's why Conte said, like, what's he supposed to do? Amputate his arm? Like he's saying it tongue
Exactly.
in cheek, but he's right. It's like,
But even the
what are
fact
we
that
doing here?
he's not even moving forward unnaturally. He's like like retracting his hand back. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, I'm not extending my hand. The ball hitting me on the hand by accident,
mm.
but it's a hand. Like, but again, if it's accidental on the defensive end, I don't know, man. Like, I understand. Like I said, I understand if it makes it easier for the player to score, or if it like goes in, with his hand.
Yeah.
We're not having hand of gods here. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, I don't know, man. Because by the letter of the law, this was the correct call. And once I saw it graze his hand, I sat back down and said, okay, all right, let's keep going. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I commented on this last week or earlier this week, so I mostly wanted to get your thoughts, and I tend to agree. Um, I don't have any graphics for it, but what about the Juan Jesus couple of incidents? There was one where he cleared the ball out and he kind of on his follow through catches Taram, tore his shirt even a little bit, and then there was
Oh,
another
right.
one. There was another one where he it looked like Taram was gonna be on a clear break, and they kind of at the initially it looked like Jesus took him out and could have been sent off. The replays, it seems more like a bit of a 50-50, both kind of tugging and jostling with each other. But do you think we, just to play devil's advocate, do you think we got some calls in our favor there?
I don't know too much about the 50-50. I think that was just Dovetti saying let him play.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, but the one where, I mean, okay, you have physical evidence that your shirt's torn, but was it on a high kick? Was it like, just like, I'm trying to visualize what happened. I do remember the torn jersey, but
Mhm.
it depends on where his foot was. I mean, like, could it have been called for a high kick? Maybe, but at
Mhm.
the end of the day, that might have been, the referee just looking and seeing, okay, this wasn't intentional, it wasn't supposed to be that, and he called it. Like, you could talk about all this stuff all you want. Like, we got calls against us in the same game, so if it's Interisti talking about it, who cares? You know what I mean? But like, I'm not. I'm actually. I can't find a reason to be upset with of the officiating. Between Inter and Napoli, I can't find it a reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably what saved Juan Jesus was that he cleared the ball first, and so his leg was just up on the follow through.
Yeah, what's he supposed to do there too?
Yeah,
Like,
and Thuram, and the other thing was that he did not make. It's not like he did any kind of like sort of kick out motion afterwards. It was a very
sure,
natural. Just
sure.
he
Yeah.
when you kick hard, your leg swings, and then Thuram kind of ran into him. So I
Now,
actually
if
think it
you
got
now if
lucky.
Juan Jesus, picked his leg up and wanted to do like a Kevin Nash big boot, you know, to try to get the ball away, and you grabbed his shirt with your studs on the way down, then yeah, you need to get a yellow card for sure. You know what I mean? So, if that's not what it was, then leave it alone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
These guys are humans out there. That's another thing. This is a sport that's not as cut and dry as like sports like baseball, sports like, tennis, sports like, there are circumstances that come, like, I can't say basketball, I can't say, football, because, there are fouls that are given or not, so it's like
yeah, yeah.
referees discretion. But like,
Creativity.
there are games out there that are so cut and dry, and football's not one of them. So
Mhm.
like, you know, you could be mad as mad as you want, but at the end of the day, they're the guys who get paid to do the job, and we don't, so like they have to answer to their superiors for doing a bad job, and they get affected. But the thing that sucks is that it affects us as fans of the club, as like, we take this much more seriously than they do. You know what I mean? They don't care. They're just officials getting paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when an official has a bad game, that's just how it is. But like, I think Juan Jesus didn't do anything wrong. Honestly, I don't think he did anything wrong.
No, agreed. Okay, I think we ranted enough about the controversy. So let's talk about something a little bit more positive. And the main one I wanted to touch on was Scott McTominay, who has really stepped up in the last few matches. We were before we hit record, we are talking about how, in actuality, he's been great all season. He was just maybe not scoring as many goals because he we needed him to play a bit more of a box to box kind of role. Now he's, for whatever reason, I guess sometimes it's just ebbs and flows, but he's been contributing goals. He would have had his fourth goal in 3 matches had that goal against Parma not been disallowed. He's up to 8 goals and 4 assists in all competitions, 5 and 3 in Serie A. Still scored 3 goals this week or in the last 7 days. And not just scoring, but like scoring in big matches, like 2 equalizers against Inter. Was he the first or the second against Verona? I think it was the first, but shows up in big moments, and this is a guy that now people are starting to talk about, like, is he on that level below, that one level below Maradona's kind of status, right? No one touches the Maradona level, but the level below, is he on that level?
Well, I mean, is Di Lorenzo on the same level as Maradona, being the only other captain to lift a trophy twice
Mm,
with Napoli? You know what I mean? you can argue these things. McTominay, though, is, I would say, maybe as impactful as Maradona was. Maybe if not a little bit more, right? No, not more. Sorry. I think what I'm trying to say is McTominay coming in took a really, really terrible situation into an amazing one, right? We had, you see, the difference is, Napoli were obscure when Maradona came in, and then they became great. Napoli had just won a title and then had one of the worst title defenses in history. Never mind just in Serie A, in history. And McTominay coming in was I mean, obviously there were other, big reasons Napoli won the Scudetto. I said it on the rant so many times last season. There's not just one reason Napoli won the Scudetto. There's so many different reasons why we won the Scudetto. But without McTominay, it's not happening. You could also argue without Lukaku, it's not happening. Without Conte, it's not happening.
Right.
All these things, without Kvara leaving, it's not happening. Like all these things had to fall into place to win a Scudetto. But to see McTominay continue the form, like we didn't see that in the first year of in the first Scudetto with the first defense.
Right.
We didn't see that a year and a half ago. We're seeing it here. And so on the same level, yeah, I mean, like, I guess he's today's Maradona for kids, right? But like, it's hard. Like, it's like
just to be clear,
asking.
like I'm putting Maradona on his own level.
Oh, and Maradona's on his own planet.
Yeah. Like, but is he one below or maybe two below? I guess is what I'm kind of debating. Because I mean, maybe Di Lorenzo is the level below. To your point, like captained us to 2 Scudetti. Although,
and it sounds weird, right? Because
people love McTominay probably more.
Exactly. Like when you think about it, he's one trophy away from lifting as many as Maradona did with us, right? I mean, we won, two Scudetti, a Coppa Italia, and a Supercoppa with Maradona, in Italy, right? If we win like the Coppa Italia or another Scudetto, he's matched the amount of trophies Maradona lifted. So it's like, McTominay for me has surpassed Osimhen.
Sure.
If that makes sense. Because
or Kvara.
Because and we haven't won the second Scudetto yet, like the fact that he's doing it again this season, where we're not out of it by any means, and he's like the catalyst. You're seeing him so clutch coming in, making a mistake on one end and then making up for the mistake on the other. Moving him to where he needs to play was very big. And we can also talk about if, KDB being injured is also a cause of this, but that's a story for another day. Yeah, I mean, you're also seeing him do it on his national team, right? He's coming so clutch for his national team. So it's not just, he's got this different moxie about him from coming from Manchester United. And in just 1 year, he has, and in a year and a half, he has become the talk of the world almost. And, for him to be a short list on, the Ballon d'Or, I realize Osimhen was higher on the short list the year we won the Scudetto, but still to be on the short list and then to come in and do it again with the same attitude, the same hunger, the same desire, wants to win more, wants to win in Europe, wants to win. He wants to stay with us, yeah, I mean, it's hard not to put him there, because but I grew up with Napoli as you did, Joe. I saw Lavezzi, I saw Cavani, I saw Hamsik, I saw these guys that came in and Mertens, Jorginho, Insigne, what have you, right? Even go back to the Serie B, Calayo, we saw these guys and we're like, oh, those are names that true Napoli fans should never forget. Like they're here in the memories. And McTominay's only been with us for a season and a half, but already he's become that level. Let's put it that way. He's become that level. He's on the level of the highest second rung, or the highest level of the second rung.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
no one's ever gonna jump that high, that rung.
yeah.
For me, Maradona is it forever. Doesn't
Just
matter.
walk
Nobody.
around Napoli and no one's getting that many murals.
And it's the same thing when you argue LeBron and Jordan, right? You
Mhm.
argue Maradona and whoever's now, right? It's we lived that time and we saw him do it, but also it's not just what he did, it's how he did it. So for me, there'll never be somebody else like that. You know, we'll never have a Messi who might be
Mhm.
matched with Maradona. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I'll take a McTominay any day. I'll take a few of those. And we have that. We have that. We have Politano, who never stops fighting. We have, even Billy Gilmore was doing great when Lobotka was up. We have Lobotka. We have Anguissa, who we terribly miss right now. Neres, who's a maniac. Lang, who we found out never stops fighting. Højlund, who's been getting better and better and better. The only problem I have on this team right now is Lorenzo Luca, man. He needs to go. He needs to go. But
yeah,
but but yeah, man, Scott McTominay should be a household name by the end of his Napoli. I'll tell you what, I'd be shocked if McTominay ever falls out of favor in Naples and you know becomes someone that is past it and we need to move on. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
feel like he'll bring us what we need to be able to say this guy is right here with Maradona, him and Di Lorenzo and Lobotka, guys that have been
Yeah,
here for
yeah,
all of
yeah,
it, Politano,
yeah,
Manet even.
yeah, yeah. Um, a couple things. One, like he has the likability of Mertens, maybe slightly below Mertens in that category. Like he
I
lives
like
there,
that.
named his son Chiro, but like the way he's embraced the city and the culture and all of that. But he's also unfortunately the one of the greatest what's the word, kind of misfortunes, or I'm using the wrong word, but is that Mertens never got a Scudetto because, like, tragic,
Injustices,
yeah, or tragedies, and
tragedies,
is that Mertens never got
tragedies,
a Scudetto.
miscarriages of justice.
Yes,
That
exactly.
2018 Scudetto would have been perfect for all of them.
Yeah,
I tell you what, if they all left after that year, it would have been like,
yeah.
that's the way to go.
Koulibaly, Insigne,
Yeah. Oh
even
yeah.
Fabian.
Yeah.
Yeah. There after that Inter match, there were so many cool little kind of facts floating around. Opta had talked about how of all teams, Inter is the side that he scored against. The first team he scored against in 3 different matches, I believe, and matched his total in terms of goals scored against in Serie A. Patrick Hendrick, who we both talked to quite regularly, mentioned on the broadcast that Napoli have never lost a match in which McTominay scored, which is a crazy statistic. Obviously, we drew, so we've probably got some draws in there, but still,
Right.
that is an
Right.
unbelievable stat. And he saved us. He saved also our home record because we haven't lost at the
Say, I
Maradona.
was just gonna bring that up. We're
Yeah,
still unbeaten at home during this McTominay. That listen, I mean, I can't remember the last time we were unbeaten for this long at home, but I tell you what, it was something. McTominay working as hard as he did against Verona, that team worked so hard up until the end.
mhm.
You could tell that at the end of that game, everyone was exhausted.
Yeah, yeah,
Politano was spent. Everybody was very, very tired. They spent all their energy on getting goals that were disallowed, and we could have won that game. Also, it was a fraction of a decision here and there. Like we could have won that game too. So these are games that we could have won, didn't win, but should also be thankful we didn't lose. Like it's not like we came out playing like we did in the first half. Don't get me wrong. Against Verona,
mhm,
we were awful in the first half, but
mhm,
we came back from it, and we did what we had to do. And McTominay was in there the whole time. Like McTominay's been a factor in every one of these games this week that we drew. Whether for the positive.
mhm.
And when you walk away from this week thinking, damn, McTominay still got it. He's clutch for us. We're gonna be okay. you know. As long as he's touch word, man. Where's my word? Right here. As long as he stays healthy, dude, I think Napoli could do anything.
Yeah,
You know,
and what I love is that so one he was man of the match 2 games in a row, the Verona match and the Inter match,
Inter match.
and but what I love is he's also kind of contributing sort of on and off the pitch. I had a tweet that started to go viral and then I got taken down by Serie. Thankfully, I posted on the Forza Napoli press first, so
There you go.
they suspended that account for like 20 minutes or whatever because I usually don't post videos for this reason. But when
Right.
I was watching, when I rewatched the Inter match after he scored the second goal, they did a close up on him, and you can read his lips because he speaks in English,
Yeah.
and he either said, "I want to win, let's go," or "We want to win, let's go, let's go." Either
Yeah.
way, like I
Yeah.
posted that and it exploded. And then the other one that was going around was his interview with the Zone after the match,
Oh yeah.
where I have the quote up on the screen, but I'll read it for people that are listening to the audio version. He said, "The players are giving everything. No Anguissa, no Lukaku, no Gilmore, no De Bruyne, no Rachmani at the start of the season. Neda's injured. I mean, if Inter Milan had no Thuram, no Martinez, no Barella, no Çalhanoğlu, it's difficult. We're pushing every single game like this. It's an absolute credit to the players, because the manager and the staff have put everything in place for us to succeed and do well, and fair play to the boys because we've got no give up." Like this guy, if he wasn't liked already, I mean, how can you not? Like he's really brought the winning mentality that him and Conte, I would say, that we lacked in previous seasons, if we're being
Yeah.
honest with ourselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 And when I speak to Man United fans that are clients of mine, and they tell me things like, "You had to see him at United. I don't know why they gave him up. They gave up on him. They moved him in his position and this and that." And I'm like, he's always had it in him. It's just he doesn't have the right environment surrounding players that are playing with him, and management,
Mhm.
and honestly, he's such a great player and such a likable guy. I don't know if you've seen, I don't know if you can actually. CBS Paramount did a sit down with him and Kate Scott,
I did see it.
Kate
Yeah,
Abdo. Did you see
yeah,
it?
I did.
What a likable character,
Yeah,
right? I mean, this is just a regular dude who's playing some football,
yeah,
and he's just so humbled and so genuine. He doesn't seem like a fraud. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And a
yeah.
lot of players out there that have his skill and his talent come on seeming like a bunch of frauds. And I just get this sense of genuinity, if that's
Mhm.
even a word, genuine
Yes.
demeanor from him. Yeah, he's it's hard not to love the guy. I'm telling you, and
Mhm.
he's got a point to what he's saying. The amount of injuries that we had, and okay, I get it. Everyone gets injured. I do. Everybody has injury issues, but even still, we're still in the mix. Like and it's a credit to him because he's motivating he's becoming friends with all the guys, and
Mhm.
he's embraced the culture. When you embrace the culture, the culture embraces you tenfold, and you become a son of the city. So McFratima is just the perfect nickname for him, and it suits him. And he's already there. When you have a nickname, you're there. You know what I mean? When the fans have come
That's
up
right.
with a,
He's got
when
tons of nicknames.
exactly. So he's there with us, and yeah, his attitude is very, I can see if I was in like a situation with him. It's like one of my barbers. I hired a barber who came in last March. He's now a partner with us, and we opened the second shop with him because when he came in, he brought this positivity, this hard work. He worked like his dedication to his craft, and his his want to succeed very much mirrored mine and my other partner that I started this with. So I can relate to this McTominay, situation in the locker room, because if he's like this in the locker room, it's contagious and it
That's right.
feeds off, it feeds off that. Now you have guys in here, you know, in my shop talking shop instead of bull crap, because this guy's come in and just kind of like helped me and my partner gain like stability in the shop and the will to succeed. Scott McTominay is doing that at Napoli, and along with Conte and Lukaku and the guys that were brought in, Manna for sure. But McTominay is this guy. Like if Di Lorenzo were to leave, I say McTominay gets the captain's armband from here on in. He's just that guy, that natural born leader, but doesn't do it because he has an attitude or thinks who he is and is cocky and feels responsible to it. He does it because he wants to win.
Exactly.
When you got guys like that he's like-minded with Conte. Conte wants to win every year. So when you got guys like that, they'll find a way. Hey, if we don't win it this year, we're 6 points back, right? Maybe too far, maybe not. Maybe sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe. But if we end up not winning it this year, we're gonna win another one. We're gonna win something somewhere. Like I just have that gut feeling that that's gonna happen, and McTominay is a huge part of that. Like he's become a crucial, vital part of. Like if you put gun to the head, McTominay or De Bruyne, see you later. Let's get rid of De Bruyne. It was nice to have him. It was very. I have nothing against
worth
him.
a shot.
Worth a shot. Sold some jerseys. Got our name out there. He can go, and it could be, hey man, it could be like nice on the way out. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you didn't no hard feelings. Thank you. But we can't have you on this pitch with McTominay otherwise, unless you change your role, like honestly, if you could somehow figure out how to change your role to where we have McTominay to where he needs to be, not on the left, but left central, being able to move around, not being handcuffed on the left-hand side, then yeah, let's keep going. Otherwise,
and like hindsight is 2020, but you do kind of wonder, like when Evan was on the pod a couple weeks ago, he asked me, what do we, with Højlund playing so well, what do we do when Lukaku comes back? Who do we start? And I said, well, both, not together, but when you're playing so many games, what worries me more than anything right now is how much we're having to play Højlund and McTominay and Lobotka and Politano, because I worry about them getting injuries. So when you get these guys back,
injure and burnout,
yeah, you can rotate a little bit without giving up any quality, because you're playing every 3 days. And I kind of wish we did that a bit sooner in the season, and maybe that would have prevented, because these injuries are a bit of a snowball effect where guys are getting hurt, so you have to play other guys more, and the more you play them, the higher likelihood that they get hurt. The next thing you know, you got 5 guys out for a long time and they all tore their muscles. So I do kind of wish that Conte just rotated a bit more, but again, hindsight is 2020. He has his ways of doing things. I do want to close by kind of looking ahead. We're basically at the midway point of the season. I mentioned you're ever the optimist, and you're certainly not going to give up. Some people have. Some people are feeling like these referee decisions are not just sort of one-off coincidental things, that this is sort of Napoli's being targeted here, and we're not just chasing Inter, we're battling against the officials as well. I had a look at the schedule, and I regret doing that, because if you look, big mistake. But let me look at the schedule up until the end of February, because by then we should have a lot of these guys back.
Do you have a graphic? Do you want to show me too?
No, I didn't. I didn't plan. I'll save you the torture.
But what I already know it. It's terrible.
Yeah. So for those who don't know it, Inter has basically one difficult game up between now and the end of February, which is against Juventus, who is in form with Spalletti kind of turning things around there.
Right.
They've got a couple Champions League games, but they're sitting pretty comfortable in the Champions League. Whereas we have to play in the same time frame 2 crucial Champions League matches because of where we sit in that table.
Yeah.
One of them's against Chelsea.
Well,
And then in the league, we have matches against Fiorentina, Juventus, Roma, and Atalanta. So I looked at that and thought, oh boy, we might really legitimately be out of it. It'll take a lot to stay in contention by the end of February, given those schedules and still the injury situation.
Joe, I'm going to drop a bomb on your show today.
All right.
For the first time ever in history, Raffa Rispo, what is it, January 14th, 11:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, am declaring Napoli would benefit from exiting the Champions League, and I hope it happens. There, I said it. There, I said it, Mr. Win every trophy, optimism. If we were 2 to 4 points behind, then I might not think this. Mm-hmm. But honestly, today I took a long, hard look at the future and thought to myself, would it be the end of the world if Napoli don't make it into the knockout stage and continue the rest of the season with Lukaku, Anguissa, Gilmore, Neres, who else is out? Bukama to full fitness. Meta, who the hell knows what's going on with Meta? De Bruyne. All of them coming back as soon as possible because the burnout could be real, man. Like you mentioned earlier. You're worried about these players getting hurt or burned out before these guys even get back, and then we have a problem. So what happens is if we don't have to deal with all that, I'm not saying Coppa Italia. Coppa Italia is 5 games, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm saying the Champions League, we could do without it this season.
I must admit, it did cross my mind as well. And then I started doing some quick math in my head. And I think financially, it becomes almost a debate of what's more important, a couple of lucrative games this season or 10 guaranteed Champions League matches next season, because it's not even just competing for the Scudetto. We are 1 point away from being out of the top 4 because Juve and Roma
it's very top heavy. Very top heavy this year, Serie A. It is, and don't get me wrong. This doesn't mean, what I said doesn't mean Raffa Rispo is about to start cheering against Napoli in Europe. It's not true. If we win and make it, I'd be just as happy. I'm saying I think what the team needs right now, what Antonio Conte needs right now, is to not worry about Europe. When Inter were eliminated from the Champions League in the group stage, when they had Real Madrid, Sheriff, I think it was, and I want to say Shakhtar, when they finished dead last and got out of Europe, they went on to come from behind and catch Milan and win the Scudetto for their 19th. Conte was the manager. Lukaku was on the team. Let's go. Let's just get it over with. Let's get out of Europe. Let's be done with it, and let's focus on essentially only the league with all these guys coming back. Because I think if that does happen, Napoli do have the distinct advantage in the season. You've seen Milan are dropping points left and right to teams, and they only have 1 game a week, right? And honestly, Inter are going to be in Europe. So, we need, and so is Juventus. I think they may have a good chance to, I don't remember what Juve's standings were in the Champions League.
They're kind of like us, right in the
kind of like us. So let them go through. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, go through, go to the knockouts. Go ahead and call us an embarrassment in Europe. Fine, do it. Because in May, when we're lifting the Scudetto, because we got all these guys back, and you guys are worried about Europe, we'll play in Europe next year as champions. I'll take it with a Coppa Italia to do a domestic treble. How's that sound for a season that we got knocked out of the Champions League? And you know what I mean? Like
successful season.
But in the Champions League, shut up. Right, Joe? No, listen, again, I want to be in the Champions League. I want to have that, you know, shot at a Cinderella story, right? But let's be honest, it's not going to happen this year. It's just not.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
We're not there yet. We can get there. We're not there yet. I thought maybe this would be the year that Conte tries to prove himself in multiple competitions.
I was really hoping for that too. Yeah.
But you know what? It could happen next year. Like,
Yeah.
let's put it this way. We're already at a milestone with Conte that he and ADL are still in favor with each other a year and a half into his tenure.
Mm-hmm.
We have that advantage right now. And if we continue the way we are, you know, with a competent DS, with an owner willing to spend a little money, and with you know, us making moves that suit him, and he's happy, we're gonna win more. Again, whether it's this year or next, we're gonna win more. So I have the optimism that I can have in the long run, but I feel like the best possible scenario is us not making it to the Champions League knockouts.
There you go. You heard it here first. Raffa Rispo does not want Napoli to
Sorry,
win the Champions.
you know, I don't mean to disappoint my fans who love the optimism. And hey, guys, those who you think I'm too optimistic, there you go. That one's for you.
Yeah,
but you know,
come join us on the Club Pessimism over here. Me and Pete.
Forget it. They think I'm Anakin turning Darth now. You know, like. At the end, Darth was a good man, right? At the end, Darth was a good man.
So. Well, I was saying to Vincenzo as well earlier today that, you know, the absolute worst thing that could happen is we continue to have these, you know, drop points or whatever, and that explosion between Conte and De Laurentiis happens, or just like the traditional Conte outburst against the club, against the world happens, and then we're stuck in a situation where we lose the best coach in the league and one of the best coaches in the world, having just spent all this money to build a team for him. That's like the absolute worst case scenario. One thing that I will say is, and I think what's really helping, is that he's had nothing but praise for these players this season. Like there was that one kind of touchy moment before the November international break. Like right after we lost to that Bologna, and everyone's like, "Oh, is Conte quitting?" And he took some days
God
off.
forbid the guy needs a little time, right?
But since then, he has had nothing but praise for these players. Stellini kind of reiterated what Conte always says today, which was that we've been telling you guys, we've known all along this was going to be a difficult season. And time again, we've heard Conte praise the guys for their effort and like say, like, I can't even criticize these guys because they are putting in the work and training on match day. And so I feel like, and to De Laurentiis' credit, this is something I don't think a lot of us would have predicted. He's really just kind of stayed quiet and stayed on the sidelines. You've heard very little from him.
Last season too.
And so the relationship seems to work. There's even rumors about a contract extension, which would be fantastic with Conte.
Well, listen, attendance is up, numbers are up, you know, everything is up, right? You got Højlund, which is a loan with an obligation to buy, right?
Yeah, it's so
we haven't spent money on his transfer yet, right?
Yeah,
so we're good. We're good in the balance. Yeah.
It becomes an option. I can't remember the condition, but Manna basically already said, even if
whatever the case may be, right? Whatever the case may be, we're not spending money on Højlund yet. We've spent loan money where we haven't used a transfer, you know, yet. That's for next season, and so like it's a whole other season to build, right? We got these guys coming back in. Essentially, Lukaku's like another signing, right? You know, and honestly, like you said, the players all getting a lot. Like look at the players, look at the teams he's been on, right? Inter and Juve. Okay, historically they're great teams and they're you know the best teams in Italy, but you know you tend to get those type of players at those teams where they may think they don't stink. Lautaro Martinez, him and Conte have been battling for a long time, right? At Juve, I don't remember if he had an issue with Pogba or not, but like the point I'm trying to make is Pogba was at the end of the day was an issue. You've got higher level players that get paid higher that think they are owed this and that, right? It's easy to start a row with a manager who's like on that level, right? So if you got a manager who's trying to get players to buy into his system that are just like, nah, I'm beneath this, and I'm not saying that that's what happened, but let's be honest, it could have happened there. And that may have started a conversation between them and the club. And now the club and them don't have the same values and the same ideas. At Napoli, it's, bro, we have nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose. We even if we lost a Scudetto last season, we have nothing to lose. We won the one. We got the monkey off our back. There's nothing to lose at Napoli. And I think Conte being in a situation where there's nothing to lose at a club, Tottenham, the pressure's on because it's England.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff with Chelsea, forget about it. If you don't make it in England in the first season, you're done. Like
look at them this year. It's the receipt.
Exactly. So, I just feel like this has always been the right fit post Spalletti, and I've always said it, like the fact that we couldn't get Conte last season, we had to sacrifice last season to get the season after the Scudetto to get Conte for last season, and it's just a fit that, in my opinion, works. They talked about how him and ADL would bump heads, but sometimes people with the like-minded people will gravitate towards each other a lot more, and I think they're very like-minded. They won't stop until they get what they want, and when they get what they want, they're going to do it their way. Maybe him and ADL can relate to each other, like it's a different dynamic. Just because Conte hasn't gotten, along with, Marotta, or with, was it Marotta before that too, right? And the whole organizations of those organizations doesn't mean it's going to happen at Napoli. That's what I'm trying to say, So, yeah, I mean, I don't know where else to go with that, because everything seems to be going well. I mean, if you told me, at the end of last season after Scudetto that, a halfway mark where we're still in touching distance in the Scudetto race, I'm happy. I'm real happy. And we won our first match for Coppa Italia. Wow. That's impressive.
That in itself is impressive. Yeah, no, and
we didn't lose 4-0 or lose on penalties to eventual relegation teams, so we're good.
It shows how far we've come, as a fan base during this De Laurentiis era. That we are, 10 years ago, we wouldn't have been so upset that we're now 6 points behind the league leaders at the midway point of the season. Right?
Sure.
And I appreciate maybe some of our younger fans weren't around back then, or were too young back then. Fine, whatever. Like, that's for us old guys to educate, right, share the knowledge. But as a club, like, it's unrealistic to expect to win every single season, anyways, especially with how competitive Serie A has become. After a match like this one against Parma, it's you feel like you got kicked in the gut. Like, I was like sneaking the game on my phone at work, and like, we're back in the office, and I'm looking at my phone and like looking over my shoulders or whatever. Then the game ended, and I was like, I'm so rattled right now. I can't do any.
Do any work. It was tough to have to get up and from this back room and go out and do a haircut immediately after the whistle blew. I had to go out there and do one. It was tough. Yeah. But then I got the haircut done. I had a minute to clean, and I started thinking to myself, it sucks, and even if Inter do win here, it sucks, but like, there's still a whole entire half of the season, so many things can happen. There are so many different factors of why Inter and Milan could both slip up. And at the end of the day, it could be Napoli, Juve, and Roma back in the Scudetto race. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We won't know until every week. Like I said, Sassuolo is a must win for me. We have got to win. We're home.
Mhm.
I can't not win that game. Put it that way.
Yeah,
Even if Inter and Milan both win their games at the weekend, we can't not win that game. We have got to stay with. We've got to keep pace now. So we have a little work to do, which like I said, midweek after this weekend is Copenhagen, right? Let him run amok. Let's get this win against Sassuolo.
yeah, absolutely. I think that's where we can wrap it up. We'll end it on a positive, which is exactly what I expected having you on, Rafa. It's been an absolute pleasure. We've missed you.
Oh, I
We're
miss being
hoping
on.
we're
I
hoping
miss
to
being
see you
on.
soon again. But
Thank you.
thank you, and for staying late at the shop to
Yeah,
get
and
this
thank
done.
you, Joe, for holding the fort down for Napoli podcasting and content because it's us OGs that have to get each other's back when we're down, right? We
Absolutely.
gotta you know and hopefully I'll be back soon. But coming, I listen to you guys all the time. I still listen to you all the time. I'm not as active in our chats, but
Mm.
trust me, I'm there. I'm reading most of it when I can, and love all you guys and miss all you guys, especially Vinny. I love Vinny. I can't wait to see him again. Listen, if Italy qualify for the World Cup, even if I don't get tickets that cost $1,800 a ticket, I think I need to be in Toronto for that first game no matter what. So I'm sure we'll meet at that point because
Absolutely.
that's something that I would, if I don't get tickets, we already worked it out with the family. I'm coming to Toronto. It's happening.
Listen, come stay at my place. Don't overpay for a hotel. We'll figure it out.
There you go. There
We'll
you
have a
go.
good time when we're
I'm easy to please too, man. I don't need much. Just give me a
um,
nice little espresso in the morning. We're good.
perfect. You still have all your usual socials at Rafa Napoli 83 on X, Far from Vesuvius. You still are involved with the Tri-State Napoli Club as well and supporting those guys.
Yes, sir. I am involved with Tri-State Napoli Club. Far from Vesuvius, not so much. I mean, the account still exists. I
Yeah,
don't really go on that anymore. I'm trying to see what to do with that because we're kind of in a transition. You can still go to Napoli Rant, Raffa Rispo on Instagram.
mhm.
You can follow my barber page, Ralphie the Barber. That's RALFIE the Barber. But if you follow my regular page, you'll find that there. Um, and yeah, uh, what was I gonna say, man? Yes, the club. Yes. So I'm gonna say this here. If you guys are in the tri-state area, Tri-State Napoli Club is meeting on the 25th for Juve Napoli at Pizzatiello, Dan Niz's restaurant,
Amazing.
and I was able to procure the Supercoppa. So we're gonna
Look
have the
at
Super
that.
Copa at the venue. So if you're listening and you're from that area or want to come down, DM the club at try_Napoli club, and we'll take care of you as soon as we can. But yeah, Super Copa is gonna be in attendance at Pizzatiello, so that's cool.
Very, very cool. So yeah, check out the guys if you're in the area. Great food as well. Like this is
Awesome food.
unbelievable. I haven't even eaten there yet. I have to make my way down.
Did you see the review that this one content creator did? I think her name is Blocko or something like that. You have to check it out. You have to go on Pizza Tielo's
Mhm.
Instagram page
Instagram.
and look it up. There's a content creator named Blocko who went there to taste all the things Dan made. And I'm looking at some of these new things like what? Like I didn't see that
I
last time
think
I was there.
yeah.
And it just got such rave reviews. And it was so great to see. Obviously, it's great to see, our friends, the fellow,
Mhm.
Fanta Limonada guys and WhatsApp chat, chiming in, but also just to see random people from the area going, "That's my favorite place."
Yeah,
Dan,
it's amazing.
kills it. Yeah, dude, you need to come down and visit because he's really got something there, man.
Yeah.
Really, really, it's a gold mine, and I think he's just such a hard worker. I shout out to Dan, man.
Mhm.
He's the man. I love that guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, such great stuff, man.
He's honestly a genius.
He's a genius, dude.
Yeah,
He's a
it's wild.
genius.
Yeah. So for now, I'm feasting with my eyes, but I definitely got to get down there. I have been watching some of these. There's been a few different now kind of content creators that everyone's kind of naturally gravitating there, and it's word of mouth. So yeah, spread the word about Pizza Tiello. Check it out especially if you're a Napoli fan. Go check out the Supercoppa. If you want to get a hold of me, you can find me on X at Joe_Fischetti5 or Forza Napoli podcast on all the usual social media platforms. If you're listening and you want to check us out on YouTube, please do and give us a like and a subscribe while you're there. That helps to grow the pod. I should be back next week, probably after the, if not after the Sassuolo match, and certainly after the Champions League match against Copenhagen. But until next time, I'm Joe Fischetti. Forza Napoli sempre.